have the Asymod RCI-2995 DXCF DARP Plus, DARP Plus. Plus, because we got extra stuff going on now in the front panel, we have two noise toys, one of which is a ricochet, which is a ricochet sound when you key up, and then another ricochet sound at the end. You can disable both, and you can adjust the end one to make it sound like a Roger beep with any length. And the second one can also be disabled here, and the tone can be adjusted here. You have your level and filter controls for your demodulator, so you can listen to yourself as you come out of the antenna, exactly as you come out. And then you have your Asymod with the standard controls, asymmetry, modulation, and carrier, and your record playback function. The Asymod has a built-in amp keyer, and we have the jack in the back. Also, we have installed the BFO whine effect, which the switch is in the back, and the line end connector. Installed both filters for the fan and for the display. So this unit is pretty much fully loaded. And there you have it. The PA jack has been converted to a PTT jack in the rear of the radio. That way you don't have to use your mic to key up when you're using the processed audio being fed into the line in connector. First thing you're going to do is turn off all the Roger beep effects. Next thing is you're going to set your demod at about 9 o'clock as default, your filter all the way counterclockwise. If you need to filter, you could high cut off as you go clockwise. You have your Asymod controls here, so the first thing we're going to do is bring all the Asymod controls counterclockwise. And we're going to make sure we're on AM. And we're going to try it out on low power, so make sure your power switches to the off position. So we're just using the final inside the radio. The PA at the moment is being bypassed. So now we'll go ahead and transmit. We're going to look at the meter, and we're going to set it, let's say, for a 2-watt dead key. So we'll key up, keying here with the mic, and we're going to raise up the carrier. Let's put it at 2 watts right there. The oscilloscope is already set for 2 watts, so we set it so we get 2 divisions. And now we go to Pro Tools, and we enable the signal generator. That right now is set for 800 hertz. We're going to go ahead and connect the line in 1/4-inch connector, and we'll see the modulation envelope here on the oscilloscope. We're under modulated, so we'll go ahead and raise up the modulation control till we reach 100% modulation right there. And there we already have our 100% modulation. You don't want to go there, that's already flat, that's no good. You want to go to where they're nice and rounded, right there. So that's 100% modulation. If you want to sound a little louder, you can increase the asymmetry. That's 150. It's back to 100. That's 150. We don't recommend going above 150. So we put a limit on it, so you cannot go past 150. Okay, so there we have. We'll leave it like around 125, right there. Simple enough. When we key up, here you have the hi-fi recorder playback, and you can adjust the input level and the bottom potentiometer and the output level and the top potentiometer. When you record, the LED should stay on while you have it pressed. When you let go, recording is stopped. To play back, just press it once and it'll play, and when this finishes playing, the light will flash like you saw. Here we have Landry's RCI-2995 mail-in to install the DARP package, the DARP. And we just disassembled the radio. He's got a few Roger beep units he wants installed in the radio, like this one. We put those brackets on there because it's got no mounting a way to mount it. And this other one, so we're going to mount them down here. And he has a amp keying relay here. We'll remove that because we're going to put the Asymod 7, and it's got the amp keyer built in. Also, this cable, very thick gauge. It was up in the front here. There's no need for that. This board only draws a couple of amps. So we'll go ahead and put the regular gauge size that comes from factory. Try to put the radio back to factory as much as possible. And then we'll continue to install the Asymod 7 DARP package. We'll remove the power wire from here. That's way too thick. And we'll put the original gauge wire there. Now we've installed the new power wire to the power switch. Now we'll remove the old amp keying relay. Remove the relay and this is glue. For this Roger beat, we had to solder the brackets. They had no holes or space to drill holes in. And this one, we found a couple of spots to open up the holes at. We had to remove the onboard potentiometers because he wants control from the front panel of the radio. So this one will be able to mount it on some standoffs. And here we've connected the standoffs. Here we put the standoffs. At this point, we've already installed the two Roger beeps and ricochet. We have the wires here for all the controls. And now we'll go ahead and start the Asymod 7 installation. We've now installed the AM demodulator and its output, and the AM demodulator input to the audio amplifier. Moving to the top side of the radio, we see here that they've put a fan filter. It's a little bulky. We need to make space for the connectors we're going to put back there. We're going to put the small version that we use, and also the fan cables. They seemed fried. They're melted. Don't know why. As you can see there, the brown cable. But anyways, we'll take that out. We're gonna feed the fan from this diode, that protection diode. That's the way Ranger is doing it now. They're not tapping into the 12 volts after it's been filtered. They're tapping into the 12 volts before it's filtered on the board at the very power input. That way you eliminate the chances of sharing the noise from the fan into the circuit. Here we have installed the fan filter, and now we've connected it to the power input of the radio across the protection diode. That'll eliminate all fan noise. Now we remove our bias adjust tab and our amp control wire, because we're going to run it now from the front of the radio with the high-low power switch. Bend down TP8 like that. Now we'll do the display power filter to eliminate digital noise from coming into the audio circuit. And here we've installed the display noise filter. There's a display noise filter installed. Now we've cleaned the rear of the radio a little bit. Looks a lot less populated with less wires. We took off the amp keying signal. We're diverting it to the front panel to the high and low power switch. And here we have the amp on TX signal together with the 8 volts TX coming to the front panel for the high and low power switch. We've now put together the RF Finals VCC pad. And there we have the RF final pad. Now we'll do the audio amplifier enable while on TX mod. We'll have to lift up the emitter of this transistor right here. As you can see, we've lifted up the emitter and the base of this transistor. Now we're going to connect the emitter back to where it was, and we're going to intersect the junction between the base and this trace. As you can see, we've connected the emitter of this transistor back to its original pad. Now we install these 2 diodes, this one and this one. And we make our connections. Now we hook up our power, ground, and modulator output wire. We've now brought all of our signal wires to the front panel. We've installed the recorder. We've installed the VFO wind switch and the line-in connector. We've also installed the amp keying connection, and that's all being brought into one harness to connect to the Asymod 7. You have your 8 volts TX for the amp key, your AM TX, and your SSB audio input. We've now installed the internal speaker on the bottom panel of the radio, the bottom cover. We have now installed a second switch to divert the audio from the Roger beeps going into the mic input to choose between the mic input and the Asymod line-in connector. This way, when you plug in your line-in connector and all your audio from the stock mic preamp is disabled, now the audio from the Roger beeps is routed into the Asymod line-in connector. Here in the back panel, we've already installed the Roger beep divert switch. If you're going to be using the Asymod, you put it on line in. If you're going to be using the front mic jack, you put it on mic. The VFO wind on and off, line in, and over here you have your amp keyer and your 12 volts for the fan. And here we have rerouted the speaker cable from the front panel to the bottom of the radio for the speaker. We mount it now on the bottom panel of the radio. Here we have cables that will be connected to the front panel. Here we have the Ranger RCI-2995 DXCF DARP Plus. This RCI-2995 DXCF is equipped with the new Asymod 7. It's got a built-in hi-fi 4 kilohertz bandwidth 10-second recorder. Here you have your front panel for the DARP Plus. And this one includes all the same features that the DARP did before. However, the power switch has been changed to a regular switch to allow space for some toys that we've installed. The Roger Beep 1 is actually a ricochet effect you have at the beginning of the transmission, or at the after of the transmission, or at the end of the transmission. You can disable both or enable both. So you'll have the ricochet when you come out, and the ricochet end, which can be controlled by here, the length of the tone, and that can make your Roger Beep in different lengths. Here you have the second Roger Beep, and this one you can disable or enable, and you can change the effect sound of the Roger Beep. You have your standard record playback functions and your demodulator with your audio level control and your tone control. Asymod has your standard asymmetry modulation and carrier control. The Asymod 7 has a built-in amp keyer, so in the back we have the amp keyer jack. There's a 12 volts for the external fan for the PA, which we've swapped the older filter that was in there before that was quite large. This one we've installed here works very well. We've also installed the noise filter for the display unit. Display unit causes some kind of switching noise, and that filter eliminates all the noise altogether within the whole unit. We've also changed the feed point for the fan. Now it's feeding off the main 12 volt input from the power supply instead of the 12 volts after filtered on the board. Here in the back, we've also installed the Roger Beep deflection switch. This switch allows you to send the Roger Beep to the line end or to the mic when using the front mic jack. You have your VFO whine effect to be used only on AM, and your line end connector. Here on the bottom side, we've installed the two noise toys with all the connections and all the necessary mods for the Asymod and Demod, including a final pad. And here we have installed our RF sampler, RF coupler for the oscilloscope, and we've installed it on a BNC connector right there. The last thing is our speaker that we've set now for the bottom panel. Looks just like this. Now we're going to do the final tests before packing it up. We'll go ahead and connect the front mic to it. We don't have the PTT mouse connected to it at the moment, but if you have one, you can connect it to the PA jack, which is now the PTT jack in the back. So we have Pro Tools running. We have the MBox 2 Mini connected to the radio. We're going to be using the signal generator in Pro Tools. We're going to start off by going to AM and setting it up for a 2-watt dead key again. Okay, so we bring all the Asymod controls counterclockwise. We key up and we raise our carrier until we get our 2 watts right there. Make sure you got your 2 divisions on your oscope, and start the signal generator. You should see your audio envelope starting to form. You're undermodulated, so you need to bring up your modulation until you reach 100% modulation, as seen right there. All right. If you need some more loudness, you could bring up your asymmetry. That's 150% modulation. 125, 100. with the RE20. We'll open up the audio. We'll key up. We'll go back to AM. Key up. Audio 1, 2, 3. Audio 1, 2. Out of a 2-watt dead key, we're swinging to about 4 watts, so we need a little more audio till we see 8 watts. Audio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Audio 1, 2. There we go. Now we have our 100% modulation, or a little more because we got our asymmetry open. Close the asymmetry. You should see 100% on the oscilloscope. Bring up the asymmetry. You can see right there we're up to audio 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost 200. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Okay. If you transmit and record, this is a test 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're still transmitting. We'll play it back. This is a test 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a recorded audio you saw right there on the scope. Now that your audio levels are set for a 2-watt dead key, you can go ahead and adjust your record levels, your demodulator level, and your receive audio level, and make them all work at the same level in conjunction. Now here, we're going to try out now the RG1, and we're gonna go ahead and key up. Oh, we're running the line-in connector, so we have to divert the audio from the Roger beeps to the Asymod, and we'll turn that switch on to line-in. Right now, we have our mic connected, and we have our audio for the Roger beep going through. So the audio of the mic is being mixed with the audio coming from the audio process. So for this purpose, it's better if you use a PTT mouse or a PTT switch from the rear to avoid having any audio coming in through the mic. So we'll go ahead and transmit. Every time we transmit, that was the ricochet, and now when you let go, nothing. Now we have both of them. When you transmit, when you let go, also you have audio. Turn them both off. Turn this one on. Key up, nothing. When you let go, there you go. There's an and Roger beep. So you key up, nothing. You turn it on. When you let go, you get that effect. Change it. So, some kind of effect. Key up, nothing. When you let go, there you go.